Funke Adebayo only wanted to go home that evening in Victoria Island. Her body ached, her head was full, and she was already dreading the packed Danfo bus. But she stopped. Over the roar of traffic, she heard a soft cry. Two identical little girls, alone and lost. A stranger to them, she ran across the road and stayed with the children. What Funke didn't know was that the girl's father was Chief Emeka Okoro, a cold, wealthy man who never let anyone get close to his daughters. But that wasn't the worst of it. The worst was what happened moments later, when those two girls looked at Funke, clung to her in the middle of the street, and shouted a word no one in that family had heard for years. Mummy. And what Chief Okoro did next changed all their lives forever. The evening traffic on Amadou Bello Way was at a standstill. Funke Adebayo dragged her feet as she left the office building. Her red cleaner's uniform stuck to her back with sweat. She was 28, but her body already complained like a 70-year-old's. She had cleaned more than 20 offices that day, wiping dried coffee stains from desks, scrubbing executive toilets, and cleaning handprints off glass walls. Now, all she wanted was the bus, a plate of rice and stew, and her bed. That's when she heard a quiet, muffled whimpering, almost lost in the noise of the cars. Funke stopped. On the other side of the road, two small girls were walking hand in hand. They were light-skinned, their hair braided with white ribbons, wearing patent leather shoes and dresses that must have cost her 2 weeks' salary. Their cheeks were wet with tears. She looked around. No adult, no worried mother, no one. 2 5-year-old children, alone in the middle of VI. Funke's chest tightened. She didn't even think. She ran across the street. A dispatch rider on an Okada honked and cursed at her. She pretended not to hear. She reached the girls and knelt on the pavement, bringing herself to their height. Hey, it's okay. Nobody is going to shout at you. Tell me what happened. The one in the yellow dress swallowed a sob. The one in the red dress squeezed her sister's hand. We lost our daddy. He told us to stand still, the other one added. We only moved a little bit. Funke wiped the yellow-dressed girl's wet cheek with her thumb. Her calloused hand, rough from cleaning chemicals, seemed huge against the child's small face. Hey, I'm the one who talks, the girl in red grumbled bravely. Funke almost laughed. Oh, really? Then what are your names? Taiwo, she said, pointing to her sister. And I'm Kehinde, and I'm not crying. She is. All right, Kehinde. The two looked at each other with that special twin connection. Kehinde took a moment to yield, but she did. Come, Funke said, holding out her hands. The girls took them. Across the street was an old popcorn cart, the kind with wooden wheels and a noisy aluminium popper. The smell of butter filled the air. Funke led them over. Oga, 3 bags, please. The vendor, an old man in a worn cap, looked at the girls and gave a gap-toothed smile. For 2 little princesses, I'll make it special. Taiwo wiped her face with the back of her hand. Kehinde remained suspicious, but her eyes were glued to the bag. Funke paid with the last of her transport money, not thinking twice. She sat with them on the marble step of a fancy building entrance, her faded blue uniform next to their designer dresses, 3 bags of popcorn. It was a strange sight in the middle of Victoria Island. Careful, it's hot. Kehinde poked the popcorn with a finger. Taiwo had already stuffed a handful into her mouth. It's nice, isn't it? Taiwo nodded. Daddy never lets us eat street popcorn, Kehinde said, a little indignantly. He says it will upset our stomachs. Well, your daddy is right, Funke replied carefully. But on a special day, a little popcorn won't hurt anyone. Is today a special day? Funke looked at her, 5 years old and already talking like a grown-up. Today is the day we met. For me, that's special. Taiwo smiled, her cheeks full of popcorn, and rested her head on Funke's shoulder as if she had known her forever. Funke froze. Her shoulder, used to the weight of brooms and buckets, now held a small, blonde-braided head. Slowly, her hand moved to the girl's hair, and she stroked it tentatively. From across the avenue, someone shouted, a desperate man's voice. Taiwo! Kehinde! The 3 of them looked up at the same time. A tall man in an expensive suit, his jacket open, his tie askew, was running towards them. His face was flushed, his graying temples disheveled, his eyes wide with panic. Kehinde dropped her popcorn. It's Daddy. Taiwo clutched Funke's arm, squeezing tight, and buried her face in the blue uniform. I don't want to go. I don't want to. Funke looked at the girl, then at the man running across the road, then at her own fingers still in Taiwo's hair. Chief Emeka Okoro arrived, breathless. A taxi almost hit him, honking loudly as the driver yelled out the window. The chief didn't even notice. His eyes were fixed on his two daughters, sitting on the ground, eating street popcorn with a woman in a cleaner's uniform. Relief turned to anger in an instant. He grabbed Kehinde's arm before he spoke. "Get away from them, now." His voice was low and strained, the kind that hurts more than a shout. Funke stood up. Her hand went to Taiwo's, who wouldn't let go. "Lower your voice, Oga. I'm not talking to you. But you will talk to me, sir." These children were crying alone in the middle of the road. "Let her go," Taiwo started to wail loudly. Kehinde pushed her father's hand away. "Daddy, stop it." The chief blinked, loosened his grip, and took a half step back, confused. "My dear, I just want to—" "You're hurting me," Kehinde said, showing her arm. There was no bruise, but the red marks of his fingers were still there. Chief Okoro looked at his own hand as if it didn't belong to him. "I didn't mean to, Kehinde." "Daddy, we were looking for you. We looked all over upstairs. You weren't anywhere. I was in a meeting, my love. I told you to wait. You're always in a meeting." The words hit Chief Okoro like a physical blow. He froze on the pavement. A passing executive glanced at them and quickened his pace. A couple crossed the street without paying any attention. Taiwo remained glued to Funke's uniform, crying softly. Kehinde crossed her little arms. Funke took a slow breath. She didn't want to get involved, but she wasn't going to leave with a child crying and clinging to her trousers. "Oga, can I say something?" Chief Okoro finally looked at her, really looked at her. She was short, with dark hair tied back messily, short nails, and a uniform stained with cleaning products. An ordinary woman, the kind he passed every day in the service elevator. "Speak. You're scared. I know. I would be too. But shout at me, not at them. They're frightened enough." Chief Okoro didn't know what to say. He knelt, in his expensive suit, on the greasy pavement of Victoria Island. The linen jacket touched the dirty ground. He didn't notice. "My daughters, I'm sorry." Kehinde didn't answer. Taiwo turned her head slightly, peeking at her father from behind Funke's uniform. "My loves," Daddy shouted. "He shouldn't have. I'm so sorry. Is that okay?" "You shouted at Mama Bose yesterday," Kehinde said. "And at the driver." "I know, my dear. I don't like it when you shout. I know." "Mama Bose cried in the kitchen. I saw her." Chief Okoro closed his eyes for a moment. "I will apologize to Mama Bose when we get home, okay?" Kehinde uncrossed her arms a little. Just a little. Taiwo released one hand from Funke and slowly reached her little fingers toward her father, as if testing if a stove was hot. Chief Okoro took them with both his hands as if they were made of glass. He rubbed the back of his neck, looked at his daughters, at the woman, and at the dropped bag of popcorn. "Thank you," he said curtly, without looking directly at Funke. "I'll take it from here." "You're welcome," Funke replied in the same tone. She bent down to say goodbye to the girls, stroking Taiwo's head and brushing a stray hair from Kehinde's face. "Go with your daddy. He was looking for you. He was scared too." "Are you coming with us?" Taiwo asked in a sad little voice, not looking at her. Funke froze. "My love, I can't. I want the auntie," Taiwo cried. "Daddy, I want the auntie." "My dear, the lady has her own life. I want the auntie." And that's when it happened. They let go of their father, ran to Funke, and hugged her legs so tightly they almost knocked her over. Taiwo buried her face in Funke's stomach. Kehinde grabbed her waist with the strength of someone terrified of being pulled away. Then, in the middle of a busy Lagos street, they shouted loudly, "Mummy, don't go! Mummy! Mummy, stay!" A woman in a sharp suit, walking past with her phone to her ear, stopped in her tracks. A young man on an electric bike hit his brakes. The popcorn vendor held his scoop in midair. Funke's mouth fell open, her hand suspended, not knowing where to put it. She wanted to explain, to shout that she hadn't asked for this, to say, "It wasn't me. I didn't say anything. I don't know where that came from." She looked at Chief Okoro for help. He was pale, white as a sheet, his mouth open, his eyes fixed on his daughters, on that embrace, on that word mummy, a word that hadn't been spoken in his family for 5 years, not since the day Taiwo and Kehinde came into the world, and their mother closed her eyes for the last time. The two had only ever seen photos. They had never called anyone that, and now, here they were, both shouting, "Mummy," to a cleaner. Funke opened her mouth to explain. Nothing came out. Chief Okoro took a step, then stopped. His hand trembled. Funke felt something warm run down her face. When she noticed, it was a tear. He stood frozen on the pavement, watching his daughters cling to a stranger. People passed by, glanced, and kept walking. Some whispered. None of them truly cared. He swallowed hard. His throat was dry. "Daughters," his voice came out low. "Come with Daddy." Kehinde held her breath against Funke's leg. Taiwo pressed her face deeper into the uniform. It wasn't the first time he'd heard them like this, together, with this tone. This wasn't a tantrum at the park or drama at bath time. This was something else. Funke knelt slowly. "Girls, look at me. Your daddy is here. You have to go with him. You have to come with us." Taiwo whimpered. "I have to go home, my love. Take us with you." Funke looked at the man. The man looked back at her. And in that moment, without a word, they both understood they needed a different solution. The girls were not letting go of her leg by force. Chief Okoro stood up, brushing off his stained jacket. The expensive suit couldn't hide anything anymore. "Madam, will you accept a ride home? There's no need." "Yes, there is. You made my daughters stop crying. I couldn't. That's worth a ride." Funke glanced at the clock on a nearby building. 7:10 p.m. Her bus was gone. The next one would be in an hour. If she caught the last one, she would get to Ajagunle around midnight. Her mother would be worried. A ride, just until they calmed down. "Just until they calmed down," he repeated. The two of them were already lying to each other without knowing it. The car arrived in silence, a big, black SUV with tinted windows, the kind you pass on the road without a second thought. A driver, in a grey suit, opened the door. Taiwo got in first, pulling Funke by the hand. Kehinde followed. Chief Okoro walked around and got in the other side. Inside, it smelled of new leather. The cold air conditioning gave Funke goosebumps. There was a small screen on the back of the front seat. Funke hugepe on her lip, afraid the car door would close and swallow her whole. "Where to, Oga?" Chief Okoro looked at his daughters, one on each side of Funke, leaning on her like she was a pillow. "Home, Mr. Dele." "Then, Ajagunle," Funke added quickly. "Near the market bus stop. Do you know it?" "Yes, ma. No problem." The car moved onto the main road and headed towards Banana Island. Taiwo closed her eyes before they reached the first traffic light. Kehinde took longer, but also succumbed to sleep at the second one. Both their heads rested on Funke, one on each side. In the rearview mirror, she saw him. Chief Okoro was facing the window, but the glass reflected his face. His eyes were red. A single, thick tear rolled down his cheek. He wiped it away quickly with the back of his hand. He didn't look back, didn't look at Funke. She lowered her head and adjusted Taiwo's hair. The SUV drove towards Banana Island. The buildings grew taller, the walls higher, the gates blacker. Funke looked out the window and saw a house with a gate that looked like it belonged to a palace. She looked again. That was the house. The gate opened on its own, sliding silently. "We've arrived." Chief Okoro got out first and lifted Taiwo into his arms. The girl mumbled in her sleep. He covered her with his stained linen jacket. Funke was left with Kehinde. The girl's warm breath was on her neck. She was drooling a little on her uniform. Funke didn't mind. A woman with grey hair appeared at the door. She wore an apron, a tea towel over her shoulder, and a worried expression. "Chief Emeka, thank God. I was about to call the police." "It's all right, Mama Bose." They fell asleep. Mama Bose peered into the car. Her eyes narrowed for a second when she saw Funke with Kehinde in her lap. "You came with them?" "Yes," Funke answered awkwardly. "I brought them back." Mama Bose understood before she heard the rest. She came to the car door. "Thank you, my dear. Come down." Funke got out, stepping onto a marble floor so shiny she could see the reflection of her old trainers. The entrance rug was softer than her mattress in Ajagunle. "Second floor, first door on the right," Mama Bose whispered. Funke climbed the stairs with Kehinde in her arms. Each step was a world away from her own. Upstairs, Chief Okoro had already laid Taiwo on one of the pink beds. He took off her patent leather shoes with a care Funke hadn't expected. He gestured for her to place Kehinde on the other bed. The two girls slept deeply, their cheeks rosy. Chief Okoro looked at Funke. "We need to talk downstairs." The living room was enormous. Funke stood, unsure where to sit. Every sofa looked like a museum piece. "Sit down, my dear. I'll bring you some coffee." Mama Bose appeared with a tray black coffee, hot meat pies, and butter in a small glass dish. Funke took the cup with both hands. They were trembling slightly. Chief Okoro sat in the armchair opposite her and loosened his tie. He looked older now, tired. "What is your name?" "Funke Adebayo." "Funke Adebayo of where?" "Of the Santos family." "Funke Adebayo, where do you work?" "At the 27 building in VI, for a cleaning contractor." "How much do you earn?" Funke fell silent, staring at her meat pie. "Oga, forgive me, but are you interrogating me? I didn't steal anything. I was just going home from work and found your daughters on the street. I don't mean to offend. I'm trying to make you an offer." "An offer?" Chief Okoro took a breath. He was a man used to giving orders. Asking was difficult. Come and work here. As a governess, a nanny. You can choose the title. I'll pay you triple what you earn as a cleaner. Accommodation, food, Sundays off. You will take care of the girls. Funky choked on her meat pie and coughed. Mama Bose rushed over with a glass of water. Sir, are you offering me a job because your daughters called me mummy? I'm offering you a job because for 5 years, those girls haven't slept properly. Those 2 upstairs are sleeping now, because of you. His voice broke on the last word, just for a second, but Funke caught it. Oga, with all due respect, you don't know me. I could be anyone, a thief, or worse. The security guard at my building told me he saw you buying my daughter's popcorn with your own money. A thief doesn't spend her money on strange children. Funke lowered her head. She thought of her mother, Iya Aduni, 62, with uncontrolled diabetes and expensive medication. She thought of the rent for her small room in Ajagunle, 3 months overdue. She thought of her younger sister, Jessica, who had left home and never returned. She thought of her own back, which ached every single night. Then she thought of the girl in the yellow dress, sleeping upstairs with one bare foot sticking out from under the covers. She lifted her chin. One condition. Namit, you will never shout at me, not once. The day you shout at me the way you did on the street, I will pack my bag and leave, and no amount of money will make me stay. Chief Okoro placed his cup on the table slowly. No one had spoken to him like that in a very long time. Maybe ever. Done. And another thing, I will take care of these girls my way. Play clothes, bare feet, hands in the dirt, making chin-chin in the kitchen. If you want little porcelain dolls, hire someone else. Fine. And my mother lives in Ajagunle. She is sick. I will visit her every Sunday without fail. Car and driver. Is that acceptable? Funke looked at him. He was serious. Yes. He held out his hand. His was smooth, from holding pens. Hers was rough, from wringing out cloths. They shook on it. When can you start? I need to sort things out. Talk to my boss at the cleaning company. Tell my mother. I'll be here on Wednesday. Wednesday then. Funke stood up and picked up her bag. Oga? Yes? One last thing. Those girls called me mummy today. I didn't teach them that. But if you don't want it to happen again, tell me now. Chief Okoro took a long time to answer. He ran a hand over his face and looked towards the stairs that led to his daughter's room. They have never called anyone that. Not a single nanny, not one relative. I will not be the one to take that away from them. Funke nodded and walked toward the door. Funke? Yes? Thank you. You haven't hired me yet, sir. Let's see if this works out on Wednesday. Chief Okoro let out a short laugh. The first one of the day. Mr. Dele drove her to Ajagunle. On the way, Funke looked out the window. Vi, Surulere. The scenery changed, the houses shrinking. When the car turned onto a dirt road in the community, neighbors peered out of their windows to see. Iya Aduni opened the door, her hand on her chest. My child, were you in an accident? No, Mama. Sit down. We need to talk. And Funke told her everything, from the popcorn, to the mummy, to the job offer. Iya Aduni listened without blinking. When she finished, she held her daughter's hand. My child, God does not make mistakes. Go. In the first week, Funke learned more about the house's routine than about the girls. Breakfast at 7, the twins' lunch at noon, always separate from their father. The chief's dinner at 8, alone at the table, a newspaper beside his plate, his fork hovering between headlines. Mama Bose cooked. Mr. Dele drove. Cedar cleaned the rooms. Miss Benedict tended the garden 3 times a week. Nobody laughed. There was no joy in that place. In the second week, Funke started to break the rules. Girls, today we have breakfast in our pajamas. In our pajamas? Kehinde was surprised. Mama Bose said we have to be dressed. Not today. Today is lazy day. Taiwo jumped onto a stool at the kitchen counter. Kehinde hesitated, but when she saw her sister digging her spoon into the Milo tin, she came down to the kitchen barefoot. Mama Bose leaned against the doorframe, hiding a smile in her tea towel. Chief Okoro came down in the middle of the scene. Gray suit, blue tie, phone glued to his ear, speaking English with someone in New York. He stopped in the middle of the kitchen. His daughters, barefoot on the counter stools, their little feet dangling, milk mustaches on their faces. Funke was on the other side, laughing with her mouth full. He ended the call abruptly. Good morning. Good morning, Oga. Daddy, look. Mummy Funke made milk mustaches. He looked at his daughters. Taiwo had milk dripping from her chin. Kehinde had a chocolate crust on her lip. Very beautiful, my loves. Sit with us, Daddy. He glanced at his wristwatch. I have a meeting at 8:30. my love. Taiwo's face fell. Kehinde kept eating, not even looking at her father. Chief Okoro left without having breakfast. Funke watched the car disappear through the gate, then looked at the girls. Do you know what we're going to do today? We're going to Murio Kunola Park. Daddy never lets us. Today, he will. That night, when he returned, it was late. The girls had already eaten and had their baths, but they weren't asleep. They were on the living room rug, surrounded by colored pencils, drawing. Chief Okoro stopped at the door, watching them without a word. Daddy! Taiwo ran to him. Kehinde followed, more serious. Look what we made. It was their family. A father in a suit, 2 girls in dresses, and a woman with black hair, tied back, wearing an apron. A house with a chimney and a sun in the corner. Chief Okoro froze. Who is the one in the apron? Mummi Funke. Our first mummy became a star, Kehinde said, matter-of-factly. Now Mummy Funky is our pretend one. Girls, I'm not… Funke tried. We know, Kehinde cut her off. But to us, you are. Chief Okoro stared at the drawing, the black hair, the apron, the crooked smile drawn in red pencil. He sat down on the rug in his suit and polished shoes, folding his legs like a child. He sat on the Persian rug that must have cost millions of naira. Can I draw too? The 2 girls squealed, pushing paper, pencils, and an eraser towards him. He drew a clumsy man in a suit with gray hair. Taiwo laughed. Daddy, you draw badly. I know. Very badly. I know, my dear. Kehinde studied the drawing with the seriousness of a 5-year-old judge. Daddy? Yes? Is your drawing smiling? I'm trying. His mouth is crooked. It's because Daddy doesn't remember how anymore. The kitchen fell silent. Mama Bose, who was listening from the pantry, held her tea towel to her mouth. Funke stood up, resting her hands on her knees for balance. I'm going to make some hot chocolate. Anyone want some? Me. Me too. Me too, Chief Okoro said softly, his eyes still on the drawing. In the kitchen, Funke heated the milk. Her hands were shaking. She reached for a pot and almost dropped it. Mama Bose appeared. My child, are you all right? I'm fine, Mama Bose. That man, she said, nodding her head towards the living room, hasn't sat on that rug in 5 years. 5 years. Mama Bose, I just came to look after the girls. Of course, just that. I'm an employee here. My child, I'm an employee too. We are people before we are employees. Funke lowered her head and stirred the chocolate. It swirled slowly in the pot. Mama Bose, what was their mother like? She was a sweetheart. She never stopped moving, did 1,000 things at once, danced by herself in the kitchen listening to the radio. She would have liked you. Funke bit her lip and turned off the stove. In the living room, Chief Okoro was lying on his stomach on the rug. The 2 girls had climbed onto his back. Taiwo was pulling his gray hair. Kehinde was tickling his stomach through his suit. He laughed out loud, laughed for the first time in 5 years. Funke stopped at the doorway with the tray. She stood there for a moment, holding back the tears that rose from her chest without warning. In the 3rd week, she appeared. Click, clack, click, clack on the marble floor. A sharp, aggressive heel, unlike anything Funke had heard in that house. Who is that, Mama Bose? The fiancé. The chief has a fiancé? Yes, a bad one. The kitchen door swung open. A tall woman, with straight blonde hair down to her waist. A beige dress clung to her body. The handbag she carried must have cost more than Mr. Dele's car. Skin without a single wrinkle. 33 trying to look 25. Isioma stopped at the door. Her eyes scanned Funke from head to toe, then the girls covered in flour, then the counter full of biscuit dough. She wrinkled her nose. Me God. Good morning, Funke said, wiping her hands on her apron. Good morning. You're the new one. I'm Funke. Funke. Look, Funke. A few rules. The kitchen is not a place for children. The girls have a nanny to stay in their room with their dolls. Children from good families don't get themselves dirty like this. Kehinde stopped mixing the dough. We're making heart-shaped biscuits. Darling, that's lovely. But go to your room now. Auntie Funke will clean up. No. Isioma blinked. What do you mean, no? She let go of the strand of hair she was twirling and stormed out of the kitchen, her heels clicking angrily. Emeka! Chief Okoro appeared in the hallway, phone in hand. What is it, Isioma? Your daughter disrespected me. This one, she pointed at Kehinde. He stood there, trapped. What happened, my dear? She told us to stop making biscuits. I said no. You see, Emeka, the house girl let the child talk back to me like that. Isioma, it's just biscuits. Emeka, it's not about the biscuits, it's the principle. You hired a woman from God, knows where to look after your daughters. Look at her clothes. Look at this kitchen. Your house has become a mess. Funke clenched her apron in her hand. Madame Isioma, I'm not talking to you. Well, I'm talking to you. The girls are making biscuits. The flour will wash off in the bath, and you are shouting in front of the children. Isioma turned her head slowly. Emeka, are you going to allow this? Taiwo started to cry softly. Kehinde dropped her spoon. Chief Okoro looked at his crying daughter, a sight he had never been able to bear. Isioma, come to the living room. Absolutely not. I'm talking to them. In the living room. His tone rose for the first time against Isioma. She swallowed, turned, and walked away, her heels clicking again. He looked at Funke, then at his daughters, and knelt in the middle of the kitchen. Girls, I'm sorry. Keep making your biscuits. Daddy, Kehinde said, looking deep into his eyes. She's done it before. Done what, my love? Kehinde lifted the sleeve of her pajamas and showed him a faint, old bruise, almost gone, but still there. She squeezed my arm. She said if I told you, you would be angry with me. Chief Okoro took his daughter's arm with a gentleness that didn't match the size of his hands. When was this, Kehinde? The last time she came here. Why didn't you tell me? Because she said you would take her side. Chief Okoro closed his eyes. Taiwo leaned against her sister. It's true, Daddy. I saw it. He stood up slowly. Funk, finish the biscuits with them. I need to handle something. He left the kitchen. Funke stood frozen, then looked at the two girls. Come here, you two. She pulled them into a hug, held them tight, felt Kehinde's heart beating against her chest, felt Taiwo's little finger tangled in her hair. You're not going to leave, are you? Taiwo whispered. No, my love. Promise? I promise. Mama Bose came into the kitchen and looked at Funk. My child, now the real war begins. From the other side of the house, Isioma's scream cut through 3 walls. Her voice rose and fell, crying, threatening. Chief Okoro's voice was deep and low, unyielding. The girls heard it. Kehinde grabbed Mama Bose's tea towel and covered her sister's ears. Don't listen, Tai Tai. Don't listen. Funke hugged them tighter. Girls, let's finish our heart-shaped biscuits. Heart-shaped, they repeated. The 3 of them continued to mix the dough. Flour dusted the air, and in the living room, the war had just begun. Chief Okoro didn't break up with her that day, Isioma cried. A beautiful cry, without smudging her makeup. She swore Kehinde must have bumped her arm somewhere. She swore on her life that she loved the girls. She swore it was all a misunderstanding. The chief half believed her, but something between them had cracked. He started coming home earlier. He started asking Mama Bose to let him know when Isioma was coming over. He started avoiding the restaurant in VI where they always had dinner, and he started, without realizing it, to look for Funke in every room. The house's routine changed. Funke would wake the girls up singing songs from Nollywood movies. She would braid one's hair to the side, the other in pigtails. Breakfast with Mama Bose's Puff Puff, then school in Ikoyi, and back to the park in the afternoon. Evenings were spent on the rug with coloring pencils. Bath, dinner, bedtime story. One Tuesday, she was telling the girls a story about the cunning tortoise in their room. Chief Okoro stopped in the hallway to listen, and so the tortoise tricks the elephant, takes all the yams, and disappears, laughing. Mummy Funke, does the tortoise live in the bush? He lives everywhere there is a clever plan, my love. My grandmother used to say so. Did your grandmother know the tortoise? My grandmother knew everything, my love. Did our first mummy tell stories like this? Funke paused. Her hand stopped on Taiwo's hair. I didn't know your mummy, my love, but all mothers tell stories. Daddy doesn't. Your daddy tells them in his own way. No, he doesn't. Daddy works. Chief Okoro entered the room. All 3 looked at him. Can I tell one now? Taiwo's eyes widened. Can you? He sat on the edge of the other bed. He seemed too big for the pink bedspread. He loosened his tie and thought for a moment. Once upon a time, there was a truck driver. A truck driver, Daddy? Yes, in an old truck that went clank, clank, clank. And this driver drove all alone on the roads because he had lost his wife a long time ago. Funke lowered her gaze. And one day, on the side of a dirt road, he saw 2 little girls all alone. 2 twins like us. Just like you. And the driver stopped and found out that those 2 girls were his daughters, that he had forgotten he had. Kehinde grew serious. Daddy, did you forget you had us? Chief Okoro took a long breath. I forgot to remember, my love. It's not the same thing, but it's just as bad. And the mother of the girls in the story? The mother became a star, but she sent a lady to take care of them. And the lady wore a blue uniform. Taiwo clutched her blanket. Daddy, are you crying? I'm just sleepy, my love. Kehinde reached out and touched her father's face. A tiny drop of water was on her finger. This isn't sleep, Daddy. He swallowed, sniffed, and pulled Kehinde and then Taiwo onto his lap. He sat there for a long time without saying another word. Funke got up silently and left the three of them. She went down to the kitchen. Mama Bose was washing glasses at the sink. Mama Bose, I have to leave. Mama Bose turned off the tap. What did you say? I can't stay. I'm getting in the way. Sit down. Funke sat. Mama Bose dried her hands and sat opposite her. My child, did you hear that man tell a story to those girls tonight? That man didn't even tell stories to himself. Do you think that's getting in the way? Mama Bose, I'm the nanny. He's the boss. He has a fiancée. That fiancée is hanging on to his money. She doesn't love anyone. I've worked in this house for 17 years. I know. But nothing can happen. You came to take care of the girls. So, take care of them. The rest is in God's hands. Funke squeezed Mama Bose's hand. I'm scared, Mama. I'm scared every day too, my child. We get scared, and we do it anyway. Iya Aduni, Funke's mother, had said something similar one Sunday. On the way to the market, her arm linked with her daughter's, she had said, My child, when God opens a door, we don't close it because we are afraid to walk through. Funke looked out the kitchen window. Upstairs, the light in the girls' room was still on. Isioma had sent 3 messages to Chief Okoro during dinner. He hadn't replied to any of them. There would be consequences, and the consequences came 2 days later, at the mall. On Saturday, Funke took the girls to the Palms in Lekki. Chief Okoro had asked her to. He left his credit card and had already called the manager of the shoe store. The girls needed school shoes, trainers for PE, sandals for the hot season. Taiwo skipped along the shiny floor. Kehinde held Funke's hand tightly, looking around as if counting the exits. Mummy Funke, look at that doll. We'll look later, my love. Shoes first. Click, clack. Funke recognized the heels before she turned around. Isioma was walking down the corridor. 3 friends followed her, all looking the same. Straight blonde weaves, expensive handbags, the same perfume. Well, what a coincidence. Funke straightened her back. Good afternoon, Madame Isioma. Girls, come and give Auntie a kiss. Taiwo and Kehinde didn't move. Girls, I'm talking to you. We don't want to, Kehinde said. Isioma laughed for her friends, a thin, rehearsed laugh. You see? Badly behaved children. It's the nanny's fault. Look at her uniform, her hair. One of the friends, a dark-skinned woman with a blonde weave, whispered, Is this the one from the mainland? The very one. The other 2 giggled. Funke took a breath. She wouldn't fight in front of the girls. Girls, let's go to the shop. Wait a minute, Funke. Isioma grabbed Kehinde's arm. Let go, Funke said quietly, but her voice didn't tremble. What? Let go of the child's arm. Now. Isioma's friends took a half step back. They sensed something different in Funke's voice. Isioma let go, pretending it was her choice. Funke, I'll be honest, in front of my friends who are my witnesses, Emeka told me everything. Everything like what? That you're throwing yourself at him, that he's sick of you, that it was a mistake to hire you. The 3 friends shook their heads with fake pity. Funke felt a chill run down her spine. For a second, she doubted. Had he said that? She looked at the girls. She was about to believe it. That's when Kehinde spoke. Liar, what did you say, child? Liar, you're lying. Daddy said on the phone yesterday that Funke was the best thing that ever happened to us. I heard him. You did not. I did. And you were behind the kitchen door. I saw you in the reflection on the oven. You were hiding like a cockroach. One of the friends' eyes widened. Isioma, you were listening behind the door? Of course not. This child makes things up. I don't make things up. You were wearing gold shoes. I saw them. Isioma's face turned red up to her ears. Her fingers tightened on her handbag strap. One of the friends checked her watch. Girls, I have to go. Me too. The 3 of them left together quickly, feigning haste, and disappeared down the escalator. Isioma stood there, alone in the middle of the shopping mall corridor. Her heels were no longer clicking because she wasn't moving. You will pay for this, she said to Funke. Low, pure venom. You burned yourself, Madame Isioma. Taiwo tugged on Funke's hand. Let's go, Mummy. She walked past Isioma, past everyone in the mall who had stopped to stare. Kehinde held Funke's other hand. Let's go, Mummy. The 2 of them pulled Funke away. Funke didn't look back, but she felt the weight of Isioma's hatred burning her back the entire way. Later, in the car, Taiwo started to cry. My love, what is it? We called you Mummy in front of her. It's okay. Daddy is going to send you away. Why, my love? Because we called you that. Funke pulled the girl onto her lap. Kehinde leaned in from the other side. Look at me, both of you, look. The two lifted their tear-stained faces. Your father is not going to send me away because you call me mummy. If he sends me away, it will be for another reason, but not for that. How do you know? Kehinde asked. I just know. I trust him. It was the first time Funke had said that sentence. She herself was surprised by the words that came out of her mouth. The car drove up to Banana Island. The gate opened. Funke got out with the girls, one on each side, her chest tight, ready to face whatever came next. She just didn't expect what she saw in the living room. 3 giant designer suitcases, the kind that cost as much as a new car, were piled in the middle of the Persian rug. Isioma sat on the sofa, legs crossed, scrolling through her phone as if nothing had happened at the mall, and Chief Okoro stood at the window, his back to the door. Mama Bose appeared in the hallway with a tea towel in her hand. She gave Funke a look. Funke knelt to the girl's level. Mama Bose is going to make juice with you. No, Mummy Funke, we don't want to. Go, 5 minutes. Taiwo resisted. Kehinde pulled her sister by the arm and followed Mama Bose to the kitchen. Before disappearing down the hall, she looked back at Funke and gave a little thumbs up. Funke entered the living room and stopped beside the suitcases. Emeka, Isioma said, without looking up from her phone. Your employee has arrived. He turned. Isioma, are these suitcases yours? They are. And I'm leaving, my love. Unless you do the right thing. Right now. What thing? Fire this woman, in front of me, now, and we get married in December, as planned. The grandfather clock in the hall chimed 3 times. No one spoke for a few moments that felt like hours. Chief Okoro looked at Funke. Funke looked back at him, not asking for anything, but not running either. Isioma. Yes, my love. Funke stays. Isioma laughed. A short, disbelieving laugh. What do you mean, Funke stays? You are the one who is going. She dropped her phone on the sofa. Emeka. Because of a house? Girl, it's not because of her. It's because of my daughters. Your daughters are being manipulated. My daughters are happy. My daughters sleep through the night without waking up screaming. My daughters were singing at breakfast yesterday. Singing, Isioma. Something I have never heard in this house. Emeka. And there's more. Kehinde showed me the mark on her arm from your fingers. I saw it. I spent 2 days pretending I wasn't sure, but I am. Isioma stood up from the sofa slowly. Her chin trembled for an instant before it hardened. Emeka, I already explained. Children make things up. My daughter did not make that up. You would believe a 5-year-old girl over your fiancé? 1,000 times over. Isioma turned pale. Her face changed in 2 seconds, from dominant to victim. Tears welled up, round and perfect, without smudging her makeup. My love, I'm confused. You're confused. This woman is messing with your head. Emeka, think about our future. The mansion in France. Our plans. I don't love you. She stopped. The tears froze halfway down her face. What? I never loved you. I thought we would get along because we had the same social calendar, the same event planner, the same circle of friends. I thought after Aisha, I would never feel that way again, but I do. I feel it right here, in this house, every day. It's just not for you. Funke lowered her head, her hands clutching her apron. Isioma looked at her. Is it for her? For this thing? That is none of your business. I will destroy you, Emeka. Do whatever you want. The press, the courts, anything. I have nothing to hide. Isioma picked up her bag and phone from the sofa. She walked past Funke, stopping very close to her. You are more stupid than you look, my girl. Rich men don't end up with someone like you. When he gets tired of you, he will kick you out onto the street like a dog. Funke lifted her chin. Maybe he will, Madame Isioma, but that has nothing to do with you. Isioma scoffed. Her heels click-clacked toward the door. Mr. Dele, who had already figured out what was happening, carried the 3 suitcases out in silence. The door slammed. The gate closed. The house fell quiet. Chief Okoro looked at Funke. She stood still, her hands still crumpling her apron. Chief Emeka, you didn't have to do that for me. Don't call me Chief. Please, Emeka. Emeka, I didn't do it for you. I did it for my daughters. He lowered his head. But I did it for me, too. She looked up. He took a step, then stopped. Funke, I don't know how to date. I don't know how to approach someone. I haven't known how to do any of this since I was 25. I just know that I couldn't stand to see that woman on my sofa anymore, and that I sleep more peacefully since you came into this house. Funke opened her mouth. No sound came out. 2 little blonde braided heads appeared in the hallway entrance. Mama Bo said we could come out, Taiwo said. Is the liar gone? Kehinde asked. She's gone, Emeka replied. Gone for good. The two girls ran. They hugged their father, then hugged Funke. The four of them stood in the middle of the living room. Taiwo took her father's hand and placed it on top of Funke's. There, she said. Now it's right. Kehinde, serious as ever, looked at Funke. Mummy, is it right? Funke looked at Emeka. Emeka looked at her. They didn't speak, but his fingers intertwined with hers. It's right, my love. From the hallway, Mama Bose peeked out. The tea towel went up to the corner of her eye. The days after Isioma left were strange. Good, but strange. It was as if the whole house had let out a breath it had been holding for years. Mama Bose hummed old high-life tunes in the kitchen. Mr. Dele told jokes on the way to school. Mr. Benedict brought a scent leaf seedling and planted it by the entrance. The fragrance filled the house. Emeka changed. He started arriving at 5 in the afternoon, 5 o'clock sharp. He cancelled meetings to be home at that time. The girls would run to the door when they heard the car. He would kneel, take one in each arm, and kiss each of their foreheads. But with Funky, he froze. He would stand at the kitchen door, start a sentence, then stop. He would let his hand brush against hers by accident and pull it back quickly, as if he had touched a hot iron. Funke froze too. She was afraid. Afraid of many things. Afraid of him, of herself, of what people would say. One Thursday, she was hanging the girls' clothes on the line in the back garden. Emeka appeared, no tie, sleeves of his shirt rolled up. Can I help? Funke looked at him and held back a laugh. You, sir? Hanging clothes? Why not, Funke? Is a rich man not allowed to have arms? She laughed. He laughed too. He took a pink t-shirt belonging to Taiwo and hung it up by the hem. That's wrong. Wrong how? Hem side down, otherwise the pegs will mark the fabric. Ah, he redid it. His hand brushed against hers. They both stopped. Funke felt her face burn and looked away. Emeka. Yes? We need to talk. I know. I can't stay in this house without knowing what we are. I don't sleep well. Neither do I. The sun was setting behind the high wall. Emeka sat on the stone bench in the garden and patted the space beside him. Funke sat, leaving a hand's breadth of distance between them. Funk, I wanted to tell you something. About the girl's mother. Funke held her breath. Her name was Aisha. We got married when we were 25. She was a dentist. Once a week, she treated people who couldn't afford dental care for free. You would have liked her. Funke gave a small smile. We tried for a child for 3 years. Nothing happened. When it did, it came in twos. The doctor said it was a high-risk pregnancy. She was on bed rest for 6 months. Everything seemed fine. But there were complications during the delivery. They tried, but they couldn't save her. She passed away the same day the girls arrived. Funke slowly reached out and placed her hand on his. For a year, I couldn't even look at the girls properly. I know it's ugly, I know it's horrible, but every time I looked at them, I saw Aisha dying. So I hired nannies, sent them to school, hired everything I could. I thought I was being a father. He turned his face away. His eyes were red. Then they disappeared that day. And when I found them, they were laughing. Laughing, Funke. I hadn't heard those two laugh together, really laugh in 5 years. You walked through that door and, without even realizing it, you brought life back to this house. You gave me my daughters back. And in a way I can't even explain, you ended up bringing me back too. I know it's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to stay here just as their nanny. I want you to stay as the woman you are. The woman I've learned to love as part of our family. Funke wiped her face. Stubborn tears were now flowing freely. Emeka, I have a sick mother in Ajagunle. I was a cleaner, now I'm a nanny. Your friends will laugh at you. Let them laugh. The mothers at the girls' school will whisper behind our backs. Let them whisper. I don't know how to eat with 3 forks. I'll teach you. Besides, you only need 1. The other 2 are just for show. She laughed. A genuine, loud laugh. I'm scared, Emeka. Me too, Funky. But I'll be scared by your side, not from a distance. He turned his face. Their eyes met. Emeka moved closer slowly and rested his forehead against hers. They stayed like that for a while. The kiss came slowly, gently, almost asking for permission. Behind the clothesline, 2 little blonde braided heads were peeking out. Mama Bose was holding back her laughter with her tea towel. Are they kissing? Taiwo whispered. Is she going to be our mummy forever now? I think so, Kehinde said. You think so? You have to be sure. Kehinde looked serious, in her typical way. Okay then, I'm sure. Mama Bose took them both by the hand. Come girls, let's leave the grown-ups. Mama Bose? Yes, Tai Tai. Can we call her mummy for real now? Ah, my child, You've been doing that for a long time. The two girls smiled and skipped back to the kitchen. Emeka squeezed Funke's hand. Funke, yes? Stay with me. For real. She looked for a moment at the clothes peg that now served as a promise ring, feeling the difference between his skin and hers, marked by years of hard work, as the sun went down slowly behind the mansion wall. I'll stay. 8 months passed. The mansion was not the same. Anyone entering for the first time would never believe that house had once been silent. There were toys on the living room rug. Drawings were stuck to the fridge door with magnets in the shape of yams that Iya Aduni had sent. Dried Play-Doh was stuck to the corner of the kitchen counter, which Mama Bose tried to scrape off with a knife, muttering under her breath. The smell of cake came from the oven 3 times a week, because Mama Bose had started teaching the girls to measure flour. There were always clothes on the line in the garden. And there was a dog. Yes, a dog. A brown local dog that Funke had found abandoned on the street and brought home hidden in a shopping bag. Emeka found out 2 days later when the creature chewed his Italian leather shoe. He wanted to be angry, but he looked at the girls and couldn't. They named him Popcorn, and the dog became the king of the house. Funke's mother, Iya Aduni, was better. Emeka paid for a private doctor, imported medicine, specialists. Iya Aduni's diabetes was under control, and she could walk without a cane again. Now she spent Sundays at the mansion. She would arrive with a container of stew, because she said Mama Bose's was good, but hers was better, and Mama Bose would pretend to argue. The two of them became friends, like characters in a TV drama. One Saturday afternoon, there was a party in the mansion's garden, the twins' 6th birthday. It wasn't a glamorous party. It was simple. Just family Iya Aduni, Mama Bose, Mr. Mr. Benedict, Emeka's brother, Rodrigo, who had started visiting the house again after being away for 8 years, and 7 little friends from school. There was cake, puff, small chops, and popcorn. Of course, popcorn had become a tradition. Taiwo came running in a yellow dress. Kehinde followed in an identical one, but with a pocket on the side. Kehinde liked having pockets to keep things in. Mummy, popcorn ate the puff. Funke dropped the basket of bread she was holding. Popcorn. The dog shot off with chocolate on his face, his tail wagging happily. Everyone laughed. Emeka was sitting in a wooden chair under the garden's big mango tree. He watched the scene. His chest tightened with that good feeling he had learned to recognize. Funke came over and sat on the grass beside him. Phew, that animal is going to be the death of me. No, he won't. He loves you. He loves puff. Emeka took her hand. It wasn't so calloused anymore, because it had been 6 months since she had last scrubbed a floor. He held it. They had been together for real for 8 months, no longer hiding. The girls had celebrated with a giant drawing of the 4 of them holding hands under a huge sun. Funke. Yes? I want to ask you something. If it's about getting the dog off the sofa, the answer is no. He laughed. It's not that. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small, old velvet box, the lining worn at the corners. Funke's eyes widened. Emeka, it wasn't Aisha's. I want to be clear. It was my grandmother's. She gave it to me before she passed and told me to give it to the right woman. I kept it for years. It never fit anyone. Now, it does. He opened it. Inside was a simple ring, yellow gold, with a small, slightly worn blue stone. My grandmother was a seamstress. She raised 7 children. She got this stone from my grandfather back when he was a milk delivery man. It was all he had. Funke covered her mouth with her hand. Funk, will you marry me? The 2 girls, who had been pretending to play chase near the mango tree, screamed before she could answer. Say yes, Mummy. Say yes. Everyone looked. Iya Aduni squeezed Mama Bose's hand. Mama Bose lifted her tea towel to her eyes, and this time, it came away wet. Funke cried, laughed while crying. Yes, Emeka, I will. He put the ring on her finger. It fit as if it had been waiting for that finger its whole life. The 2 girls threw themselves on top of them. The 4 of them fell onto the grass. Popcorn joined in, licking anyone's face he could reach. Kehinde let him. Taiwo complained, but let him too. Iya Aduni nudged Mama Bose. Look, Bose, my girl has become a princess. A princess? No, Aduni. She became a mother. The 2 old women hugged under the mango tree and didn't let go for a long time. Emeka took Funke's face in his hands and rested his forehead against hers. Thank you for running into my daughters that day. Thank you for letting me stay. Taiwo poked her head between them. And me, people? You too, my love. Kehinde came up from behind, arms crossed, serious. Finally, Emeka pulled her onto his lap, kissed her forehead, kissed her sisters, and kissed Funke's hand. On the other side of the garden, Mr. Dele took off his cap, looked up at the sky, quickly wiped the corner of his eye, and put his cap back on. "Madam Aisha," he said softly, so no one could hear. "It's all okay now. You can rest." A breeze rustled through the mango tree. A leaf fell into Taiwo's lap. The girl picked it up and put it in the pocket of her dress. "Forever," she whispered.